Listen to that. What do you hear? Silence. Silence from my printers. But not for long. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog. This is vlog number 420, and it is September the 1st, 2025. So, yes, the little devils are going back. It's that time of the year. It's Labor Day. So tomorrow, they're all going back to school. More about school in a minute, but first let's take a look at what I've been working on this week. And here we go. Haven't gotten that far on the Stormy Seas quilt. As you can see, I've only got 4 blocks done. There's about 14 blocks, and some of them are multiples. These big ones, thank goodness, are one-offs, and I'm happy about that because there's a lot of little pieces in each of these blocks, and it takes a while for the cutting, and I hate cutting. But anyways, that's as far as I've got on that project, and the reason being is that I've been working on these. These are the tote bags that come from Dollarama for $5. You've heard me talk about them several times before. Seem to be all the rage right now. Everybody's doing this. I don't know if I started something or I stole somebody else's idea. Probably the latter of the two. And I've been madly embroidering these for Christmas presents. I have got 3 done, front and back. I have 9 more to go. Yeah, I bought 12 of these bags. So that's what's been taking up a lot of my time. And each one of these bags takes about 2 days to make. It takes about a day to do the embroidery on one side and the same for the embroidery on the other side. So while the machine is working on them, I tend to work on other things as well. Other things like this cute little guy. The Halloween gnome. I have a collection of these for each important date or season in the year. Couldn't resist them. Did make a little mistake about that, and I'll talk about this tomorrow in more detail on the Idiot Quilter. And then, of course, I'm still making lots of Christmas things. This is a freestanding lace bell, and I've got several different designs, and I intend to tie one of these kind of things to each one of the Christmas bags as well, just as an additional little gift. Okay, so we'll come back to some of the Christmas gifts and some of the things I'm doing for Halloween, because Halloween's not that far away when you think about it. It's scary. A little bit later on in the program, but right now, let's talk about the YouTube channel of the week. This is a comedy. This is done by an older lady. Her name is Jeanne Robertson. You've probably heard of her. I think, unfortunately, she passed away a year or two ago, but very funny lady, and she looks at things, every practical everyday things that happen to those of us that are aging, and she calls this one "Don't Mess with the Broom." So here's my review of that YouTube channel. This week's YouTube is one that's quite hilarious, and you may have seen this lady before. Her name is Jeanne Robertson, and she likes to talk about things that are more familiar to aging individuals, but in a very hilarious way. And if you remember, back on Stephen and Walter Live about 2 weeks ago, we talked about the bat incident, where we had a bat in our house, and it took us an hour and a half to get him to go outside. Well, she had a similar situation, and it is hilarious the way that she and her husband, who she calls Left Brain, solved the problem. But the way she tells the situation doesn't seem to be related to what her main topic was, and that was about her husband getting a hearing aid. Are you confused? Well, you won't be if you watch this video clip, and you may want to check out other clips from her YouTube channel because she is absolutely hilarious. Now, sadly, I think she has passed away. This is an old video. It's about 12 years ago, but nevertheless, the comedic world has lost a great individual. So if you want a good laugh and you want something that's relatable that makes you laugh, then check out this clip, Jeanne Robertson, Don't Mess with Broom People. So you'll find the link for that in the show notes below, and I highly recommend that you check out some of her other videos on YouTube because, as I said, she is very funny. There is a uh, Zoom link for Sewing with Stephen, as always on Wednesdays, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern, ending around 4 p.m. Eastern. Come and go as you please. All are welcome. And there are links for all my friends' YouTube channels and to the past week's videos. So that takes me to how things are looking outside right now. And you can see sun's coming up. It's about 6:20 in the morning, and it looks like it's going to be a really nice day. And the leaves are still on the tree. Yeah, I know this sounds funny because it's not quite fall yet, but there is a bit of the fall in the air because right now our current temperature is 10 degrees C and our high is going to be a very comfortable 24, which is okay. But now we're at that time of the year where the extremes between nighttime temperatures and daytime temperatures is much wider. So let's see what's in it today in the forecast. Well, sun, 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 sun. So that's nice. Tuesday, sunny. Wednesday, well, it's partially sunny on Tuesday with a high of 24. Wednesday, sunny, high of 24. Thursday, 60% chance of rain. Had to come at some point in time with a high of 19, a little cooler. Friday, we have partially sunny, 20. And Saturday, we have partially sunny and a high of 18. And Sunday, the same. And really, with the exception of Thursday of this week, there is no rain in the long distance forecast right up to as far as this goes, which is a week from this Wednesday. So forecast is looking pretty good for, into September. But that can change at a moment's notice. We all know that. I'm hoping Saturday will be nice because we're going to go off to a quilt show in a little town called Buckhorn, which is kind of northeast of us by, I don't know, an hour and a half or so. And we're going to check that out. So we'll be taking you along, and you'll see that on the Idiot Quilter next week. Okay, so that takes me to what's pissing me off. Well, parents of children, school-age children. And I have one thing to say to you. Tomorrow is probably the most exciting and the worst day of the school year. At least it was for me as a teacher. Let me get me back in here. As you know, I was a teacher for 31 years. I taught high school. Loved it. But it was a lot of hard work. Very hard work. People bitch about teachers all the time until they need a teacher. Until their kid is struggling with something to learn, there's a teacher there to help them out. There's a school system there to help them out. But parents tend to forget that. And over the littlest things, the teacher said something to Johnny that Johnny came home and didn't like. And so immediately they want the teacher's head on the chopping block. Well, the first day of school, which is tomorrow, for my area anyways. I know in some areas school went in a month ago. But here in southern Ontario, we go into school the day after Labor Day. So, what you don't see is all the work the teachers have been doing in the summer. You get 2 months off in the summer. When I was a teacher, basically the month of July is your holiday. Because when August comes, you're thinking about going back to school. Yes, you think about that come the first day of August. And you're already starting to prep. And the week before school goes in, there is a mad rush. You're in school, you're trying to get your classroom set up, you're trying to get all of your handouts, all of your teaching aids, everything like that, all organized and ready to go, so that the first day for those kids when they come back is a smooth transition from summer to back to school. And teachers have to go in with the attitude that there is going to be a hostile audience that they're facing on that first day back because those kids don't want to be in school. Some do. The younger ones often do. But the older ones, no, they would like an extended summer. And if the weather's really nice out, that makes it even worse. I used to always, and you'll find this strange, I used to always hope for lots and lots of rain and cold weather in the first week of September, because that brought the kids' focus back into the classroom. They weren't looking out the window and going, oh God, I wish it was still summer. So there's all of that the teacher has to put up with, but there's so much more. Now, for a teacher, it's scary. They're meeting new kids, many of whom they have never taught before in other grades, especially in high school. And they're a scary audience. You're standing up in front of 30, 35, and I wanted to say bright, shining faces, but that's not usually what you see, especially once the kids are past grade 9. You are met with hostility. Darts are shooting out of their eyes, like it's your fault they have to be in school. It's not. If you have a grade 9 class, well, they're kind of bubbly, because there you go, they just got into the big boys and girls school. They, for the first time, it's their first high school experience, so they're kind of fun. A little unruly, got to rein them in. That's the other thing. When the kids walk into your class that first day, you are immediately looking them up and down, and yes, we are judging a book by its cover. We're checking out possible problems. Who needs attitude readjustment? And then you have to assert your authority and claim your territory from them. Because if you don't, right from the first day, you will have lost them. You will have no control over your classroom. Nobody's going to learn anything in an environment that has kids, in control. So you have to establish who is the authority figure. Now, there are many ways to do that, and I'm not going to take time here to talk about strategy. But it's a fine line between being a tyrant and a monster to those kids and being somebody who is their friend. Because you don't want to be either one of those two things. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of psychology going on here on that first day of school for the teacher. And by the time the day is over, you are exhausted because there's a ton of paperwork that has to be done the first day. There is no teaching going on for the first day, even for the second day of school, because you have all these forms that have to be filled out. You have to check all this stuff for these kids. It's administration work. It is not teaching. You don't really get into teaching proper until the second week back at school. That's when things really start to settle in. So you come home, and this is why more teachers drink, because the first thing you want is a martini or a big glass of wine. Well, in my case, it was just give me the bottle and a straw. And then you get to do it all over again the next day. And that's when teachers are secretively, and in some cases not that secretively, counting down the days to the first school holiday, which for us in Canada is usually Thanksgiving in October. But yeah, now don't get me wrong, I enjoyed teaching. I enjoyed most of the kids. Most of the kids were great kids, lots of energy, lots of enthusiasm. But it only takes one or two to, upset the apple cart. So yeah. But anyways, I wish the best of luck for a great school year for all of my friends out there, or for anybody that matter that is a teacher and they're going back into the front lines. It's a hard job. You do it well, and you should be appreciated by parents and grandparents and the kids and the administrations, because, well, it's a thankless job. So thank you for doing it. I know what you're going through. Okay, so let's talk about also, it's getting close to the end of the growing season here, which that makes me sad because, as you've heard me say before, I'm sorry, I got a little bit of a runny nose. Oh my God, fall cold. No, haven't had one of those in years. Like I was saying, the garden is doing really well out in the deck. Walter religiously waters everything every day, sometimes twice a day. We've had, a very dry summer, as I'm sure everybody's aware of. that live in North America. Well, at least in this part of North America, anyways. But I thought I'd show you the end of the season growth. These are our jalapenos. They are doing very, very well, and you can see they're starting to turn red. I'm going to leave them out there for a little bit longer because I want more red ones, and then I'm going to bring them in, and along with some of our peppers and our hot chili peppers, which these are our hot chili peppers, and they're lots of green ones, but we've got some red ones coming up, and I'm going to pickle them. I make jars of pickled jalapenos mixed with some green and red peppers, some onions, some garlic, and also I add some thinly sliced carrots as well into that mixture. Pickle them, put them in the fridge, and it's delicious. I love to throw it on a salad when I'm making a salad. It's great on a cracker, slip it on a Ritz, and yeah, and it turns out really well, and it's really easy to make. It takes no time whatsoever, and I'm going to show you a jar of it in a moment. But meanwhile, our melons. These are our cantaloupes. And for the longest time, we had flowers, but we didn't think we were going to get anything off this vine. And we're still not sure. We think we started them too late in the season from what we've read. But you know, it's kind of a mixed thing, because if you plant too early here in this country, we can have frost, and that can kill everything. So anyways, we have them. They're growing. There's some more. They're tiny, although they're getting bigger each day. So I don't know. Maybe by the end of September, maybe we will have cantaloupes. I'm not sure how long they take to start to ripen to the point where you can actually eat them. But they were an experimental crop, and if they work out, then next year maybe we'll grow them again, and this time we'll start them a little bit earlier. Now, we have had quite a few cucumbers off of this cucumber plant, and there's a little one growing there right now. They did flower again. I figured it was done for the season, but we've got cucumbers again, and see, these are gherkins, basically, at the moment. I don't know if they're going to get as big as some of the ones we had earlier, because I don't know if there's enough time in the growing season for them, but that one's not a bad size one, so they're coming along. The peppers, we have lots of them, and they're turning red. Now, this is something I learned about peppers. Green peppers are unripe peppers. You can eat them, of course, but if you leave them long enough on the vine, they will change color, and they don't always turn to red. Sometimes they turn into other colors, depends on the variety, but these ones are turning red. And yeah, as I said, we'll harvest them all. When we get to the point where it looks like we have the threat of frost, it's not doing anything, we'll harvest all of this, and I'll make some of it into the pickled peppers I was talking about earlier, and some of them I will slice up and put in little baggies and freeze, and those will be for cooking. And we maybe make a mass of stuffed peppers and freeze those too, so we'll have some stuffed peppers during the winter months. And they do, as stuffed peppers, they freeze very, very well. And there's some more. These are our orange peppers. These ones are turning orange. Now, we don't know which ones are going to turn to what color. We haven't got a clue. Well, I don't know. Walter started these from seeds, and the seeds were a variety pack. We have some yellow ones as well. Now, so things are growing well there, but things are growing really well in here. If you remember back about a month or so ago, I transplanted all of my philodendrons that sit on the kitchen, whatever they call this, kitchen bar kind of a thing. And I had them all in little pots once I'd 3D printed. Well, it was getting a little unruly. So I went through them all. I cut them back a little bit, and we bought these longer pots. They're actually pots for, window sill kind of things. And I transplanted them all, and they are doing excellent. These make me so happy. These are my COVID philodendrons. I started them from cuttings from the mother plant. There's the mother plant. She was looking really worn out. Well, she had a lot of babies. She's not a young plant. This plant came from Walter's sister when she passed away back. Oh, I don't remember, but it may be going on to almost 20 years ago. and I've kept it alive ever since then. But I did drastically cut it back. It was getting really spindly, and transplanted it. It was root bound, and it's doing really well. I'll probably at some point when this long one gets a little bit longer, I'll probably cut it back and root these. And if you look on here, there's a little vase right here, and this is all clippings from these plants and the mother plant, and they're all rooting. And I've got to get some more of another one of these long boxes and carry on down the way we go. What's my goal for all of this? A wall of philodendrons? Maybe. Um, yeah, we'll just see where it goes from there. But I think it looks so nice right there. And it sort of separates, our kitchen preparation area from our eating area. And yeah, it brings me a lot of joy. Okay, so, oh, one other thing I forgot to show you. So we had this little devil show up unexpectedly. A sunflower. He's growing in the tomatoes outside. We didn't know he was there. He just popped up one day. We don't know how he got in the pot. Maybe a bird dropped the seed in that pot, or a squirrel or something. But anyways, kind of a nice little surprise that we have a sunflower. Never planted sunflowers before. Okay, I think that's all I had to show you there. Yes, it is. So let's go to new products. And I do have something here that I want to show you. I'm very much into having my whole room down here automated. I'm just give me a moment here. I'm just looking for this link. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay. So I have a bunch of these. These are smart plugs, and they will run off of my Echo. So, oops, I said her name and she's probably spinning. Nope, she didn't. Okay, good. So I have these plugged into a lot of my lights down here in my sewing room and into my 3D printers as well. So all I have to do is say a certain command and things will turn on and go off. Now you're going to say, well, can't you do that with a switch? No, I can't. I can do the overhead lights on a switch, which are also on an automated system as well. Voice commanded system, not this, a little different. But there are certain lights here that are plugged into outlets in the wall that are not easy to get at or to turn them on and off. So these work really well. I have quite a few of these. Our grow lights down here in the other room are on a system like this, because you can also put them onto a timer. So the grow lights are all on timers, come on and go off at certain times of the day and night. And I love these. These are a different brand than what I thought I was getting. I have a different brand that's called Gosan. Yeah, they're Chinese. And when I went looking on Amazon for more, I couldn't find that brand, but I found this brand, and they work in a similar fashion, so no problem. And they're not really terribly expensive. You can see here they're 40 bucks for 4. So basically you're talking $10 a plug. But I really like them. So that is something new that I got recently to keep my home very AI controlled. Oops, AI. We'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. But let's talk about what I've been manufacturing, what I've been producing here. Do I have something to show you? Yes, I do. So I mentioned earlier, of course, Halloween is coming up in, well, a little under 2 months' time. So yeah, and we don't get a lot of kids, but I thought this year I'm going to give out candy, of course, but I'm also going to give out toys, 3D printed toys to be exact, and I may have got carried away, because what you see in front of you are 3 different things. There's little tiny chameleons to the left. In the middle are articulated little octopuses. And in the right basket are articulated little mini dragons. I made 100 of each, so I've got 300 of these suckers. Do we get 300 kids? Oh, no. We're lucky if we get about 10% of that number. So maybe they'll be getting several. Maybe one from each of here. each kid. It depends. Now, Walter's concerned about giving something like this to really small children. Well, I'm not going to give them to really small children, choking hazards, all that kind of stuff. The older ones, 5 and up, with their parents' permission, of course. And then it's their responsibility. But anyways, there shouldn't be kids under the age of 5 going out trick-or-treating anyways. Don't you love it? The ones that come with the babes in arms. Yeah, that kid's not going to be eating the candy. We know who's getting the candy, and you're using the kid as an excuse. But anyways, don't get me on that pet peeve. So yeah, so I'm ready for that. So I've been doing this a lot. At some points, all of my printers are running at once, and so it looks like a sweatshop down here. And what else do I have to show you? Yeah. Now, I'm not showing you these up close at the moment because they're not done. But in those boxes, those 3 boxes plus that basket, are things that are going to be put into those Christmas tote bags and given to people as Christmas presents. And mainly the ladies that work at Ultimate Sewing, which is my local quilt shop, because I like to give them a little something every year because they look after me very well. So I will be revealing what is in all these boxes when I get to the point where I've got them pretty much done. So I've been working on this stuff non-stop for the last couple of weeks. And there's more things to do. So I'm really happy that I purchased a new printer. And you're going to say, oh my God, you have a problem. And you are darn right I have a problem. I love 3D printing. I just saw a video about 3D printing where the guy was basically complaining that you should only print things you have a very specific purpose for printing. You're filling up landfill sites, you're creating printer poop, all this stuff. And I say, yeah, everything he said is true. But I do it because it brings me joy. And it's fun. And yeah, I want to learn more. It keeps my brain going. That's why I do it. So I wanted another bamboo printer. Do I need another one? No. But I want one. So I bought one. And it's a big sucker. It's the new Bamboo Labs H2S. This one is 50% bigger than my X1Cs by Bamboo. And I can tell you, this is a beautiful machine. It makes big things, and I'll show you big things. This. See this crate with the fat cords in it? This is huge. I could not make something this big on any of my other printers. Did it take a long time? Yes, it did. It took about, I think it was a 17-hour print. Might have been 15 hours, something like that. But it's very, very sturdy, and it's great. Right now, this particular one is holding fat quarters, but it is stackable. You see there's little things on the corners here. I can make another one. You could go up. You can make a whole system. I have a thing about boxes as well. I love boxes. I love trays, and I love making them. But anyways, yeah, this was sort of a test to see how big I could go, and I can go a little bigger than this even. And I'm thinking of making a gigantic articulated dragon. Why? Because I can. So yeah, now I have had some minor problems with this new printer. Bamboo printers, if you want to get into 3D printing, I highly recommend buying one of the Bamboo printers. You don't have to buy the one I just showed you. I mean, that's about a $2,000 printer, but you can get their A1 or their A1 Mini for under $500. And they work really well. In fact, I was toying with the idea of buying an A1. It's a smaller printer, but I was thinking that I have 4 Creality KEs, which actually I like the Creality KEs, but not as much as the Bamboo ones. The Creality printers still need some tinkering with, whereas the Bamboos print right out of the box, literally. There is nothing you have to assemble, really, for them. You just have to have a space to put them, and you turn it on. You do a little bit of configuration, which the machine does automatically for you, and then away you go. You do your first print. So within an hour of receiving it, you're up and running. In fact, it's probably less than an hour, but if you're slow, it might be an hour. So I highly recommend them if you want to get your feet wet in the 3D printing world. Now, having said that, I mentioned the Creality KEs. I still have them. There's 4 of them, but I had to move 2 of them out of this room and into the Lucy room. So Lucy now has company. She has little brothers that she can order around. Usually she orders me around. And Lucy is my long arm. And I have a love-hate relationship with her. But anyways, they're in the other room, and I can operate them all. Again, everything is wireless. I can do everything from my main computer from here, which is really nice. And they still work very, very well. I'm using those pretty much for little single color items. Like, for example, all those Halloween things I showed you, they were all done on the Creality KEs because, I could do a whole tray of them in one of the bamboo ones, but, I want to use the bamboo ones for a little bit more sophisticated printing. So, yeah, that's all good. Now, I had 2 other printers, really old. They were Crealities. One was an original Ender 3, and the other one was an Ender 3 version 2. They were sitting out in the Lucy room doing nothing. And I was debating, are these going to landfill, or can I give them to somebody? Well, the technology for them is kind of old in comparison to, bamboo and what other companies are coming out with now. So I put an ad into something called Kijiji. Not sure if that's only in Canada, but it's sort of like a Facebook marketplace kind of idea. And I put them up and said free to a good home. Within an hour, a guy contacted me and asked if they had been spoken for. And I said, nope, you want them, you can have them. So within about half an hour, he was here on my doorstep. I gave them to him. I asked him if he'd ever done any 3D printing. He was a complete novice, no, but his kids must have been bugging him. Probably used ones in school or summer camp or something like that. So I warned him. I said, these will take some tinkering. They work, but I would suggest you go onto YouTube or to the Creality website and watch some starter videos to get yourself familiar with it before you start doing anything. He seemed to be very happy with them. Well, why not? He got 2 printers for free. Retail value of about $350 a piece. Mind you, they were old, they were used, but they were in good shape. In fact, they had some upgrades on them that I had put on them over the time that I was using them. So anyways, I was happy that they went to somebody who really wanted them and they didn't end up in landfill or anything like that. Now, some of you out there are going to say, well, why didn't you sell them? Because it's old technology. People don't want to pay for old technology. And I just also don't want to do bartering. Like if I'd said, yeah, $100 each for them, they'd show them and go, well, will you take 50? And you go from there. I didn't want to dicker. They've served their time with me. They don't owe me anything. If they can go on to a new home where somebody can learn the if, buts, and ands of 3D printing and have a good time doing it with those and someday branch out, to something else like I have, then so be it. I'm an ex-educator. This is part of educating. So since I've been doing a lot of 3D printing and I bought a new 3D printer and all that kind of stuff, I thought I'd show you what manufacturing mode looks like down. So today I'm in full manufacturing mode. As you can see, I have all of my 3D printers working. This one is creating a prototype of a little mini book cover. Here's what it sort of looks like. That may be a Christmas gift. And then I have a basket full of these articulated octopuses, which is what these 4 printers are all manufacturing right now. And then over here I've got another prototype of a possible Christmas gift. It's going to look like this. It's a Santa hat, but you put a bottle of Bed Bath & Beyond soap in this. So it's kind of a decorative soap thing. And I'm thinking if these work out okay and they fit, I might go over to Bed Bath & Beyond and buy some of their soap bottles and give these, each one with one of these little Santa hats around it as a Christmas gift as well. Over here, I am making more Christmas bags from those Dollarama felt tote bags. As you can see, I've got one half of a bag done here. These are taking a long time to do, so I am glad that I don't need these until Christmas. But yeah, this is going to be something that's going to be ongoing for quite a while because I have 12 of these and I've already made one complete. So yeah, long ways to go. But yeah, I thought you'd like to see what it's like when I have a manufacturing day, as I like to call it, with my print mill and my embroidery machine. All right, so, I like my toys, okay? I'm all about my 3D printers. I'm all about my sewing machines. I'm all about anything that's mechanical. Well, I'm not the only one in the house like that. Walter is into tools as well. And so I found this clip from an old Stephen and Walter live way back when we first started doing them. And this one is all about Walter's tools.
New toys, Walter. Well, Walter did buy some new toys. In fact, that leads into what's pissing him off this week. So why don't we move from quilting and into Walter's tool story?
Yeah, well, I like tools. like carpentry and boring stuff.
Yeah, he's got
because I always get stuck putting stuff together here.
And that's your job.
Okay, anyway. So I have a ratchet set and all other stuff, which I've had for a long time and stuff. But it always ticks me off is that sometimes I need to have a wrench. And I have some wrenches, but I never have the right size. Right? So
I don't know. You probably have the right size. You just can't find them.
No, I only have a few, and I never have the right size. So
you have a hardware store downstairs.
Yeah, I know. So I saw these wrenches for a while now that I kind of wanted, and they were kind of expensive. So, and I've seen them on sale, but they're still a little expensive.
That's the Dutch in them, cheap buggers.
So I was in the store the other day, and they had them for a really good price. So I decided, okay, fine, I'm going to buy these.
And let's not forget that I gave you for your birthday a $100 gift certificate for Crafty Tire, which you used. So your wrenches only cost you $19
plus tax, right? So anyway, so I got them. And the problem with being in Canada is you have to get both metric tools and both imperial size tools. Actually, they're American size tools, right? And the reason for that is a lot of times when we buy fasteners, we end up either we'll have Canadian fasteners, which are different, which are usually metric, and then we'll have American fasteners, which are usually an imperial. So you have to have tools for both kinds. So all our tools are like in metric and in, you should have mixed that up again.
Yeah, that's fine.
And metric and in imperial. So anyway, I got my tool set home. I was happy with it. I was putting it away. And then I realized there's four in the tool set, which must be the way they do it these days, is they've left out a couple of sizes in the tool set. So what's ticking me off is I thought I bought a complete tool set, which is actually complete by what the store packaged it in. But there's actually a few sizes that are missing. And I know one of the sizes is one of the ones that I've actually used before or is frequently used. So I'm going to have to buy at least one for that one. But wouldn't you know what always happens with these tool sets? You buy all these tool sets and you think you have all the tools, and then you go to put something together and you find out it's the one that's hasn't been included. That's the one that you need. So that's what's ticking me off, is that these tool sets are not always complete when you get them. And I noticed that
I wouldn't know.
The ones that they've got now that are on sale are actually, I think they're being discontinued, but that's okay because I'm old.
So what's that got to do with it?
No. The new sets that they've got replacing it are more expensive, and there's less tools in the package.
Oh.
So the new sets have the set I have has 30 wrenches, and the new sets they're coming out with are 24.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you got something with that gift certificate that you wanted, because you're impossible to buy for. And I wouldn't know about tools for it because I don't even know much
Like, I
about
mean, I have
tools.
all kinds of tools, but this is the one thing that I always been missing, and I always end up using an adjustable wrench when I need a wrench. So, and I don't like using an adjustable wrench because they're not as accurate.
Yeah, well, Catherine says, so Walter has toys too. Oh, yes. He has lots of tools. If you ever saw his workshop, he has everything that's going down there, except you can never find it when you want it. I go in there, he's got a drawer that's marked hammers.
No, there's no hammers in my drawers.
I know.
There's no
That's
drawer.
why.
There's no drawer marked hammer.
Oh, maybe your screwdriver drawer. I don't know. I go in there looking for a screwdriver and I can't
There's
find the right
screwdrivers
size.
in the screwdriver drawer.
Oh, fine. I guess
But
that's
see,
why.
I have some of my screwdrivers in my toolbox because if we go over to your mother's and have to hang something up, I have to have screwdrivers for that. So I keep a set of screwdrivers in there too, so that in case.
Okay. Whatever. I just know that I can never find anything when I'm looking for it. So that's why I make him do it. It's fun going to IKEA when you buy something because it's some assembly and guess who gets to do it? Fun. And it's all with an Allen key. Isn't that fun?
Oh no, yeah. A lot of times I'll have a screwdriver too. So
yeah. Well, whatever.
Okay, so that brings us pretty much to the end of today's vlog. Events in the past week. Well, we had a pop-up sew day this past Saturday, and I am planning to have another pop-up sew day on September the 13th, so stay tuned. Next week, I will have all the information about that in the show notes for the videos I put up next week. And why are we having one so soon on the heels of the other one? Well, because Walter's got his own sew day on September the 13th, and I don't like to be alone. So that's coming up. And then what else? Oh, yes, I already mentioned we're going to the Buckhorn Quilt Show on Saturday. Buckhorn is not a very big place. It's a tiny little town. Do I dare say almost village? And so I don't know what to expect, but it's a day out. The weather's nice this Saturday. That'll be great. And I will bring you along with us because I will do lots of video, I hope, of the whole event. So I'm going back to all of my embroidery and my 3D printing and fabric to cut. Lots of things to do today and this week. So tune in tomorrow for the Idiot Quilter and on Friday for So Chatty. And then, of course, next Sunday for Stephen and Walter Live again. And yeah, and if you have any suggestions for any of my videos for what you would like me to talk about or show you or whatever, please send them my way. Either put them in the comments below or send me an email with that information because I'd be happy to entertain your ideas. Okay. Oh, one other thing, little sneaky peek. That's me. Done using AI and the 3D printers. Do I have your interest? We'll come back to this another day. I'm still experimenting. Have a great week. Have a great Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you all soon. Bye for now.